So you've been asked to be a Feedfoward coach. Firstly, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. The person that's approached you has already selected one or two key areas of their leadership that they'd like to develop further. And they've approached you because they would value your ideas about the best way to do this. I'm sure we can all think of times where we've had feedback that it might be good to improve in a couple of areas, or possibly we've just done our own thinking and identified a couple of key areas to focus on, but have really been unsure about the best way to progress. And as a result, 1 week can become 2 weeks, 2 weeks can become 4 weeks, and before you know it, a few months have passed and we haven't made any progress. And so Feedfoward is really designed to help people get as many ideas as possible to help them have momentum in the areas they've chosen to develop. So what is Feedfoward coaching? Approximately once a month, the person will approach you and ask exactly the same question. They'll start off by saying, as you're aware, I'm working on developing my, let's say for this example, my ability to be less defensive in conflict. Now it's possible they might be working on other areas such as taking a more strategic view, being more empathetic, or even being more influential across the organisation. So they'll start by saying, as you're aware, I'm focusing on being less defensive in conflict. What ideas do you have about how I might do that? And then they'll listen, they may take some notes, they may clarify if they don't understand what it is or what it looks like, and then say thank you. And then out of all the ideas that they get that month, they'll pick one or two to work on, and then they'll be back a month later to do it all again. The research is very clear. Doing this process only once or twice doesn't make much difference. It's at least 3 or 4 times as required. And that's why we're asking you to be involved for 4 5-minute Feedfoward coaching conversations. So, how do you help people make the most from Feedfoward coaching? There are 2 main things. Firstly, keep it short and light. Secondly, make sure your feedback passes the video test. Keeping it short and light. Feedfoward coaching is designed to be quick, 3 to 5 minutes maximum. So this is not the time for a long laundry list of ideas, nor the opportunity to raise a whole range of concerns, or even a time to provide extended feedback. It's designed to be a quick exchange of ideas that would help them improve in the area that they've picked. And the tone is meant to be light. It's like you're offering a sense of, you might want to try this. Here's some ideas I've had. So keep it light, keep it short. Secondly, ensure your feedback passes the video test. That is, have you described what the behaviour looks like? In our example, the person is working on being less defensive in conflict. And if your Feedfoward idea was be more constructive, it's the right intent. It's just that it's difficult to see what the behaviour looks like. And therefore, harder to know what to do differently. And so one tip I've found useful is to imagine if you had a video camera and you were videoing the situation, what would you see on that video recording that would tell you that that person was being more constructive? So for example, you might see them identifying the 1 or 2 things they liked in the other person's position and being able to reinforce that first. Or you might see them asking questions to get further behind what it is that's bothering the other person that might enable them to generate some options that might work for both of them. Or you might see them, instead of sitting forward and getting more rapid in the way in which they're speaking, you might see the opposite and actually encourage them to sort of sit back a little bit and slow down the conversation in order to take the heat out of it. And as you can see, the tip is really what can you capture on the video, and make sure your Feedfoward ideas help them see that. It's important to remember that you don't have to be sick to get better. Sometimes when people are approaching others for ideas, they get told, "Oh, I think you're fine already." Success in leadership requires distinctive strengths, not necessarily getting rid of weaknesses. And so in many cases, the person asking for feedforward ideas will already be good at the area that they've chosen, but just not great at it. And so while it can be difficult to give ideas that help people moving from being good at something to being distinctive at something, I'd really encourage you to think hard around what would it take to be in the top 10 or 20% of people in this area, and give them some ideas that might help them get there. It's also important to remember that they will have selected at least 2 other people to be getting feedforward ideas from. That means it's possible in any given month they may pick 1 or 2 actions that aren't off the list that you have given them. And if that happens, try not to be too disappointed about that. Rather, ask them what idea they did pick and how it went for them. And then if your idea still stands, simply just offer it again and say, actually, my last idea of ABC I think is still important, and so that's my idea for this month as well. If you have any questions about Feedforward, I'd be more than happy to answer them. You can give me a call on 021 680 639. And thanks again for being involved in supporting this person's leadership development. Your ideas can make a significant difference.